This is Will Nunziata, New York City-based director and creator of theater, television, and film. And today I am thrilled to be speaking with a Renaissance woman. She does it all, including being a symphonic composer and an author, the one and only Stefanie August. Hello, Stefanie, how are you?
I'm wonderful, Will. It's very nice to be with you today. Thank you.
Stefanie, it is so nice to finally meet you. You are in beautiful Florida, me in New York City, but New York is home for you as you were born and raised here, correct?
Certainly was, and my heart will always be in New York, although San Francisco holds as safe place for it too. So, but yes, New York, I was born and bred in New York and have an extensive history in small theaters as a producer and writer and performer, and did study to be, as I said, a symphonic composer and orchestra conductor, which is still high on my list of dreams because it costs a lot of money to run an orchestra. But I've also been writing and assisting other writers as a consultant and book producer to help creative people get their work out there.
Well, what I love so much about your whole career, Stefanie, is that in whatever you've done, whether it's for yourself or for others, you've provided a safe space to be your best self and for others to be their best selves. And I want to just go back to the very beginning. Growing up, especially in New York, I want to know who and what were your artistic influences growing up? And can you place specific moments in your childhood that when you look back now, you're like, oh, that's why I love symphonic music. Or, oh, I knew I'd be a writer one day, because that was a moment I was like, I love that book or series or whatnot.
Yes. Well, for me as a musician, and also having a background in agenting and managing, I got to work with the Rainmaker at Columbia Artists, who instructed me on the ways as a younger person how to book and manage artists in a very professional manner. But I realized at that point in my career, I would always be at a certain level. So I branched out into sharing those services with local talent in New York, and also being groomed by several wonderful jazz musicians and other musicians that were older and on the scene. I lived in Greenwich Village, so I was able to, I was mentored by the saxophonist Pharoah Sanders, who pointed me in the direction to go to jazz school when I was kind of confused about what I wanted to do at age 18. And I had been working in nightclubs and small theaters, producing my own work and helping other artists produce their work. So I guess Pharoah would be one major influence, that, and also the types of music that I grew up with, from classical to jazz to symphonic. I guess I always knew as a little girl I wanted to be an orchestra conductor and symphony composer. And, I'd walk around with my little stick as a baton and sing along to records. And I had a good family for getting me into those types of activities. So I'm grateful for that. And if I were going to say any major influence in my life, a local influence from New York, there's so many wonderful performers. I would say Phoebe Legere, who's still on the scene. He passed recently. Dr. John lived across the street from us when I was a teenager, and he was influential in my wanting to continue to put together larger groups of musicians to make kind of a raucous and happy sound. So here we are.
That's amazing. It's amazing, Stefanie. And I know we were speaking a little bit off camera, but I want you to talk a little bit about what you're working on now and some of the things that the audience can maybe expect from you, hopefully in the near future.
This year, I am helping to promote and line produce a film called Blue Running. And it's something I've been wanting to get into as a secondary activity. As an agent and manager, I've been good at fundraising, so I'm helping Aganello Production Enterprises fundraise for their pending film release. But on my own work, I've been considering either a new memoir or a book on homelessness in America, which is something that I've been putting together for quite some time. And I've traveled and lived as a homeless person, and understand that the crisis of homelessness in America is well beyond what anybody in politics can do anymore. And I really believe it's up to the artists in the world, the artists, the writers, the musicians, to bring to light the tragedy of homelessness in America, not just for families, but for people who are marginalized, disabled, people who are veterans that are still living on the street. And that's the kind of work I'm really focused on. Even in my composition work, I'm writing about social and political events that are prevalent in our society that really need to be recognized as things we need to change.
Stephanie, that's
And
so beautiful. I feel like, you know, when I think of my favorite artists, the ones that kind of not only forged the path less traveled, but created the path that wasn't there. You remind me of an artist that does the latter, that is actually walking the walk. And the fact that, you know, for example, homelessness, I think there's a negative connotation and a negative preconceived notion. When we sometimes see someone on the street, we think we know their story. But my goodness, I mean, I don't know about anyone else watching, but I'm always a person, if and when I feel it's an appropriate space to do so, to ask them how they are. And
absolutely, a
and
little
from
love goes a
there,
long way.
because it's just when I ask them how they are, sometimes they're first shocked that someone's speaking with them with kindness, but two, looking at them as a human being who may have a
Mhm.
story that can be relatable.
That's right. And everyone has a story. And I'm interested in people's stories. So I guess as a writer and a musician, those are the kind of stories that influence my work. And I'm grateful that I have that kind of mindset to get out there and not afraid to shake hands with people or ask them what they need. And I think if more artists got out of their comfort zone and really started engaging more with people who are out, it doesn't matter if they're homeless, anyway, just engage away from the phone, engage away from the computer, it makes your work more authentic.
And I think on top of that too, and why I'm so excited about this FENIX360 app and you coming on board, but also the over 1,200 artists I've been so blessed to speak with over this past year, is that no matter where people come from, no matter what their socioeconomic political background is, no matter what language they speak, there's a universality that connects people when it comes to great art.
That's
And
correct.
for you, Stephanie, you're an ultimate storyteller. And the way that you're able to weave story through music, through the written word, sometimes with both together, you've been doing it your whole life, supporting other artists, supporting yourself. I know I can probably speak for so many people watching right now. I can't not wait for any and all you have down the pike.
Well, thank you, Will. I really appreciate that. And I appreciate being part of the Phoenix community. This is my second Phoenix community that I'm part of. One is a different type of, it's more of a social justice community.
Oh,
And
wow.
it's something you should look up, spelled with the PH, not the F. But I'm very grateful to be part of the burgeoning and continuing scene of artists who want to do for their community and want to serve in through their music and their art and their writing.
Ah, Stephanie, you're incredible. I'm so grateful. Again, you're coming on board this app, but more so selfishly for me, I'm so happy that we're connected now.
Me too. Keep in touch, will you?
Oh, I promise.
Wonderful.